So what happens in New York is New York was flattened by real estate development, and we had swamps that were drained and areas that were filled in, and little thickets and vales and trees that were converted, and when the first Europeans views looking out from the top of this building. And there we hear. Careful of the bridges.
Got him.
And a nice view of Grant's tomb here on our left.
Thanks. Oh, that's why they call it Grant. Ulysses at Grant's tomb. Okay. Now I know.
You have to remember it all.
Yeah. Yeah, but see, I have documented it.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
So Gabriel is up there blowing a gold-plated trumpet. Now we do have a stop here if anybody wants to get off. Everybody getting off? Everybody happy?
Grant's
Yeah.
tomb.
Okay, good. Nice weather we have. Now the Juilliard School of Music used to be located down here. Be careful of the branches. You see that building down there to your right? That was Juilliard, and then they moved over to Lincoln Center. And now that's the Manhattan School of Music. All right, Marlon, thank you very much for doing that detour and going around so we could get a better view. And looking back, you get a nice view of the church. I wish it didn't have all that scaffolding on it, but it keeps people employed. So maybe when you come back, you'll have a chance to see it in all its glory and go inside. So now we're going to see the mighty Hudson River again, and this goes 160 plus miles up to our state capital, Albany, and has contributed so much to the development of New York City. Once we got the system of canals and opened up the Great Lakes and down into the Mississippi River, we could get goods from New Orleans by ship to New York Harbor, all because of this great river.
Wow.
And look here to your left, there you see a tugboat propelling some sort of high-riding fuel barge. It looks like it's empty. And look, there's the Circle Line, and that's one of the excursions that take by boat that goes around this island. It's 12.5 miles long. You go under a lot of bridges, a lot of fun. And there to your left, you can see the big apartment buildings that replaced the old Palisades amusement park. Swings all day and after dark. Anybody ever heard of Palisades amusement park?
Nope.
Yeah, well, it's a very famous place. Has the world's largest saltwater pool and popular amusement park. We're down there. And here to your right, we have the Valley of Harlem, and we're going to show you more of our there you can see the GW Bridge, which connects Fort Lee, New Jersey, to New York at 178th Street. And they got tennis courts, an ice skating rink, a swimming pool, and all sorts of stuff here over at the Riverbank State Park. And you see down there it says New York City Department of Sanitation, and you see that is actually a sewer treatment center facility, and park on the top. So this area we call Washington Heights, and we're just going to go and make a right turn here. The next stop we make is Madame Alexander's Doll Factory, where if you get off and go in, you will be treated to some sort of free doll with a retail value of $14.99. And in any case, that's the next stop. Now look at this vision and take here.
quick.
Now,
Very.
we're three anyway.
He can squeak in and
That's rough. So look, here on our left we have the only significant elevated track left in New York City for our subway. We put our subway underground back in 1904, and it didn't make sense here where you've got this natural valley, this depression. There's actually some sort of a fault line here, which could open up at any moment and swallow the whole bus and everybody.
Don't say that.
And maybe we'll see or hear a subway rattling along. We still have a lot of what we call ELVs, elevated tracks in other parts of the city, especially over in Queens. We've got miles and miles of them. You see them often at the movies, and we got them in the Bronx, Brooklyn, but hardly any of it here. So this area apparently they used to have manufacturing over here along the edge of the Hudson River up here, and one of the things that it's a 14 night now. Has anybody changed their mind? You want one of those?
Take the head off.
You want to get off? Okay, we got somebody who wants to get off. Okay.
You take the head off and it becomes a baby, apparently.
You take the head off and it becomes a baby. That sounds like some sort of horror movie. All right, so now how do you like that? What?
It is dolls. It's not porcelain dolls. It's like kitty dolls.
Yeah, no, I know it's not porcelain dolls. All right.
Okay, so then we just get it back here?
Yeah, you just get back on here and you get yourself a couple of free dolls, and I wish you'd get me one because then I could take it and show people. It's not that I want to get rid of anybody on the tour, it's just I kind of feel...
Next time.
Well, I mean, talking about a doll factory, you know, it's not what most people come to New York to see, I don't think, but that's great. Can we see that again? That's really good. So you can open that up, and so they actually make them there. How many people are...
Oh, it is much smaller than I thought. so I missed that. But I kept kind of, and I said, well, how do I know? Yeah, I said, I called. She said, well, you know you want to come down here, you should call ahead of time. I said, well, I did about a month ago. I called, and nobody answered the phone here, and blah, 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 blah. So she said, well, where did you call? I said, here. I said, not only did I call, I emailed you guys, and nobody responded to my email. And then she said, well, why don't you go inside and tell them to give you a brochure. When I did that, there was a brother in there. He gave me like a quick rundown of the history of the Apollo and some of the people that were on the wall. And it was interesting, and then I got the hell on out of there, and now I'm talking to you. They didn't have no damn booklets. That lady told me the only thing we have is some booklets for Bloomingdale and Macy's. And I said, yeah, what I said, and that's all. And she said, yeah. I said, okay, no thank you. So so what I did was I told her I already have something for Macy's, that gift card I was telling you about. So I went on and just said, okay, thank you, and goodbye, and get the hell on out of there. So now back to your hat thing. The guy said right there on 125th, but you said another street. Did you say Lenox? I wonder how far down. That's right. Now, who wants the hat that says Harlem? Oh, you do. Well, I got you something else, but if I can find that, I'll do that. I got you a T-shirt that has Harlem on it, and it has nice little African people on it, so you'll like that. And then what else did you just say? Oh, if I see the hat, you got it, okay? Okay, you said it. I'll have you a hat that says take. Now, is the hat for you to put on your head? Him who? Okay, so the hat is for a guy, so he has to have are the hats a big one, a large? Okay, so now back to, you said you don't have to have the T-shirt. What was that all about? Okay. All right. Yeah. No, where would that be? Oh, good. You're talking about by the berry stuff. I do that tomorrow. I took a picture of that. It was kind of small. It looked like Jimmy's. It looked like Jimmy's, Sweet Jimmy's downtown. It sort of looked like that. And it had Cotton Club written, plastered on the side of the building. So I saw that. Downtown? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, and what else did he tell you? And where was the person that he said his brother or somebody that was Marcus Garvey Park. Okay, the top of the Empire State Building, finally.
Can you see?
You can see this. I hope it doesn't come out fuzzy.
Just. Can we see? 2 words.
I'm shooting between bars, lots and lots of bars. Something, I'm not sure what that is. There's a Flatiron building. There's a bridge over there. There's a statue of Liberty. Oh, shit.
Hello.
So this one already gone.
Huh? You want again?
This one.
It's a different view. Get you some shots of the taxi cab. See if I can get tight.
Yeah, they're all brown. They don't match. Where's Max? What's going on?
A lot of one-way streets. Some Central Park. I think that's Central Park. About. Let's go this way. Okay. There. Straight ahead. It's difficult. Right there. Let's go wide. This is tight. Hands to the right.
Widzisz ten trójkątny budynek? To też na niego. Z tego budynku
I don't know what that is that I'm looking at. This is a view from the Empire State Building. All right, then.
tutaj?
Pan out.
On a dit qu'on allait
Wider
prendre une
shot.
caméra, tu vas rien dire. Maman. All right.
People on observation deck. Let's go to the other side.
Allez, 5. Thank you. No, no, ya está, no, 5.
there's the Statue of Liberty. Now I see it. It's way out there. Let's see if I can zoom in on it. That's the building. It's it right there. That's it right there. Damn, took me long enough, huh? So I got the Statue of Liberty. That's as tight as I can get it. Looks like that's the back end of it. There's a ferry. We gotta go over there tomorrow, hopefully. There's another ferry. There's something. No, bridge. I don't know what bridge that is. I don't think that's the Brooklyn Bridge. I think this is the Brooklyn Bridge right here. Wait. Sorry about that. Oh no, that's a bar. I think that's the Brooklyn Bridge. Shit. That's a bar. I think that's the Brooklyn Bridge right there. I think. Yeah. Brooklyn Bridge. Okay.
Freedom Tower is
moving right along.
where World Trade 1 used to be,
Right.
which was the
Right now.
South Tower.
Okay. The other side. Oh, excuse me. I'm in. Here's another angle. This is the other side. You can take the helicopter. I should be on pretty soon. Should be coming into the shot. Where is it? I can't see the damn helicopter. There it is. One of them. Alright. Finally got the helicopter. I'll be on that in a minute. Some kind of building. Let's see. Look at that black building there. That's a pretty good shot.
Building over there, you've heard of Madison Square Garden.
No, where? There's a
That roundish building right behind that building there. This is the Guru Room or whatever. That's Madison Square Garden. And then underneath it is, we're going to say, this is the Trump building and wherever like the Fifth Avenue and all that is.
I really haven't had time to try to look and see what everything is. Trying to film it. The piers must be over there. Yeah, there's the piers over there. Pier 6 and 7 and 8 and 9. Down there. Piers. More stuff. They have water tanks on top of their buildings, most of them because water pressure is very low down here. So they have to pump the water up to the other floors. Some kind of building. I'm not sure what this is. Let's see. It says something. And there's another taxi moving right along. There's Macy's, the back of a Macy's building. Where is it? It says Macy's, but I'm not sure if that's Macy's or not. It probably is Macy's, huh? Right there. Oh, that's a good shot. And widening out. Okay. Excuse me. Oh, I see a good spot. Right in here. It looks like the same spot. Go on the other side. I don't know if we got any of this over here. Alright. Moving right along. There's people leaving. I'm sure they're leaving. Let's see if we can get to the inside. Yeah, that's everybody leaving. Alright, that's a better shot. Alright. And let's see. Over here. There's Central Park. They're part of it. I don't know if this is the north side, east side, west side of the building. I'm not sure. Taxi cab. Let's get this shot over here. The bridge. I'm not sure what bridge. didn't. She don't own the platform. So this is the north side. The sign says north. So we're heading north. Oh yeah, the Central Park is north. That's the north side of the city. The north side of the city here. Next this. Over there on number 5. Go back over here. That's on the west side of the city. The west side. Yep, I was right. West. The sign says west. West. So, this is the west side of the city. We moved over here before, but I didn't know what direction we were. So this is the west side of the city. Alright. Been here before. Oh my God, it was like just figuring out what I was doing. Fade out. Fade out on something we're fading out on. You can see. Okay, so the west side of the building. And then I'm gonna go do the east and south. Now we're on the east side of the platform. And get into a gap somewhere.
Questo è New York.
We need to zoom out a bit.
Oh, non si vede.
East side.
La caccia della pizza.
Okay, so let's go back out. Chrysler Building is on the east side. Alright, that's wide. It's tighter. We're on the east side. East. Okay.
No, quella lei. Dai.
I'm gonna fade out. Do the south, and I'm out of here. Somebody shit it. I'm not sure what that building is, but I like the way it looks. It's on the east side. I gotta find the Statue of Liberty. I had it, but now I don't know what side I'm on. We're gonna go to the south end of the platform.
I'll get one.
Mama, even.
Yeah, we can do
I'm making a couple pics just looking
Let's
at
walk
you.
on that side. Okay.
I was that.
South side, as you see the sign says
I homeschool them and they go to something called Veritas.
south. So I'm gonna find a spot, zoom out. On the south side, yes. So the Statue of Liberty is there on the south side of the observatory. And there it is again. Right there. I've been over here before, but I didn't know the direction. I didn't know what direction it was facing. So now, let's find a spot to end this travel venture. Well, I'll end it right here on the south side. Moving on to the next travel venture. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. Ciao. Exit. The hell out. Watch your step.
Here. You can drink it right out of the tap. I've been doing that for many, many years. There is a lot of concern, though, because too much development is going on in the Catskill Mountains. The Salvation Army headquarters.
YMCA.
Now we're going to turn left at the next light into Greenwich Village. Some of you, I suspect, have heard of the meatpacking district. If we went to the end of the street, that's another hot neighborhood. Right up to the end of 14 is an area that used to be just slaughterhouses. If you drove through at night, you wouldn't see very much. It was isolated and lonely, maybe a few transvestites running around with very little clothing on. But now the whole thing has been cleaned up. And a lot of hot, new, trendy clubs, bars, and restaurants in the old meatpacking district. A good place to go at night. Here's an interesting building on the left. That's an Art Deco building.
I'm on the tour bus.
And the white riverline structure,
the 12th Street
fired in a kiln.
helicopter.
Terracotta. After the 1930s, architects pretty much stopped using terracotta except very limited ways. Now, on the far left corner is one place where you can eat cheap if you're a hot dog lover. The theme there is hot dogs with tropical drinks, mango, coconut, pina colada, banana. Most New Yorkers eat their hot dogs with sauerkraut dressing. So if you ever have one that way, give it a shot. Now, really north over there is the neighborhood of Chelsea, from 14th, road 14th up to 30th. Lots of actors live in Chelsea. And now Chelsea has more art galleries than any neighborhood in the city of New York. There are hundreds of art galleries over there, especially the last block, 24, 25, and 26th Streets over near the river, between 10th and 12th Avenue. It's a pretty good way to see what's happening on the art scene. They're all free. You can see an awful lot in a couple hours. You walk into one, don't like that style, just walk right out and go into another one. Now the village that we're turning into, just about everybody's heard of Greenwich Village. So many people have come here over the years to live the creative life, to throw convention aside, be and do whatever they want. Right now, though, it's gotten to be a pretty expensive neighborhood, so you need money to move into it. But there's many artists, singers, dancers, writers who've been here for a long, long time. It's a great neighborhood to visit. There are no big department stores here. You've got all these art stores, pottery stores, leather goods stores, little antique shops. And when you're eating out, folks, try to eat one meal in the village. There's so many good little restaurants and bars down here. A lot of them are not at all expensive. All of New York is a walker's paradise, but especially Greenwich Village, I think. Here's part of St. Vincent's on the right, the oldest and largest Catholic hospital in America. They were the major responder in 9/11. Everybody credits them with doing an absolutely magnificent job. Here's the rest of St. Vincent's on the left. Now, the main residential part of the village is all to the right. It goes way over to the river. No matter where you walk, once you get over there a couple blocks, very interesting neighborhood. Anybody a fan of Sex and the City, the TV series?
Sex and the City, you hear
Off
that?
to the right, that's 11th Street. A short walk down 11th, you'll come to Bleecker. That's where the Little Magnolia Bakery is, where people line up every day to get the cupcakes. Very popular spot.
Okay.
Here on the right, you see these tiles? They were put there by local children. It's for the families and victims of 9/11. The reason they're here, of course, so many people are treated at the hospital we just passed.
I didn't see that.
Way over on the far right, we see that red canopy. That's the Village Vanguard, the oldest gas place in New York. Now, if you want to come back later by subway, folks, take the number 1 train, the local, from Times Square. You'll get off down that street we just turned off of. You'll get, the name of your stop is Christopher Street, Sheridan Square.
We got a video store.
Now, besides all the creative types down here, this is also a very large Italian neighborhood. There are more Italians spread out over the village in what we call Little Italy. And now we have a lot of business people. They've got the money to get the apartments that artists can't afford. Now, here's a school on the right that has a playground. Looks like something going on. Many of our schools aren't this lucky. What happens when it's time for play, the cops come over and close the street by the school. The kids go play in the street. When recess is over, the kids go back in, the cops reopen the traffic. It's the playground. But this one is lucky enough to have an actual playground. Coming up on the left is a very old building, the Jefferson Markey Courthouse. Looks like it doesn't even belong in New York. It's now a branch of the New York City Public Library. Mae West was brought here for indecent exposure back when it was the courthouse. She got laid in jail and then was released. You Sex and the City people, who got married in this old park? Miranda got married in this little park. Nice little park, isn't it?
Nice little dress.
Now right over the corner of the park there is 9th Street. In the 1700s and early 1800s was a little place called the Old Grapevine Inn. For the village people to gather to eat, drink, catch up on the news, find out what was happening. We all know the expression, I heard it on the grapevine. That's where it originally comes from. The Old Grapevine Inn in Greenwich Village. Now we have a stop right ahead toward the village. Anybody getting up to do it right now? Okay. And then we're going to go down to Soho.
Kind of twitchy. I think you're gay.
Now, if you're getting off here and you want a nice walk, or you can do a walk where you want, of course, but if you walk in front of the bus a short way, you'll come to McDougal. Turn right on McDougal. You'll pass Washington Square Park. You'll come to Bleecker. Turn right on Bleecker, and Bleecker curves all through the village. It'll take you back to the Magnolia Bakery and beyond. But remember where you're putting you off. You're 8th Street and 6th Avenue.
Me and the travel guy got into it. He was telling me ticket. I was telling him I had the ticket. It was in my bag. I just got to get to it. I didn't think they were going to check. Oh yeah, you have to check. You could be anybody. I said, yeah, well they wasn't checking yesterday when I hopped on. And hopped on. So we got a taste of Lady J. I got a taste of New York City. And it worked itself out, and that'll be that. Make sure I don't get any West Indies in my shop. West Indians. There's a sports cap and hat shop. Yeah, lots of hats in there.
All right, welcome aboard, folks. There, sit back. What camera? Stay there for a minute.
And the name of the place is Sports Caps and Hats.
Now, down ahead, 8th Street turns into St. Mark's Place and becomes the center of East Village. But we're going to turn on Broadway, so we can go down to Soho. This used to be a big shoe shopping street, but now there's still a few shoe stores left, but nothing like it used to be. Here off to the right is McDougal. I just mentioned, that's a great street to walk. There's a great place down there, a really authentic Bohemian coffee house. It's called the Cafe Reggio, just past the park on the right. Great pastries and coffees. It's the favorite spot of many New Yorkers. Here on the right is the New York Studio School. That was originally the Whitney Museum, started by Gertrude Vanderbilt Whitney. We certainly have plenty of art schools. Now, as we cross here, look to the right, and you'll be looking into Washington Square Park. I believe I mentioned back in the 60s, that's where everybody would go and listen to the folk singers on Sunday. They're redoing the middle of the park right now, so it's a little messy. The archway was designed by Stanford White, to commemorate the 100th anniversary of George Washington's inauguration. New York University owns just about all of the property over here off to the right now. They're a huge property over there. If you're a chess player, you can always find somebody to play chess with in Washington Square Park, the southwest corner.
1/5 Avenue.
Anybody want to guess how many cabs we have in New York?
Probably 700,000.
About 13,000 now. The most common answer I get is either 50,000 or 500,000. It's amazing how many people give those two answers. But 13,000 is about the right answer. Not all on the street at any one time.
13,000 taxi cabs. Take a note, Matthew Wilson. Take a note.
Now behind these buildings here is a very interesting street. It's called McDougal Alley. If you look back, you'll see these little low buildings with an alley going through them. A lot of rich people live there along McDougal
A
Alley.
lot of metro
Now, the next
trucks.
block on the right is part of the film school of New York University. They have a very prestigious film department.
Can't see it now. It says metro.
Now, the last building on this street, you can just see part of it right now. The little brown building on the right that goes at an angle. Daniel Reeveskin is the guy who designed the new structure to go up down at Ground Zero, Freedom Tower. He's a graduate of Cooper Union. If you can get in there, that is one of the best deals in the city. It's a free education in engineering, architecture, and the arts. Many, many years ago, Abraham Lincoln gave his famous anti-slavery speech to any president of America. The famous photographer Matthew Brady was in the audience and took his photo. The photo and speech were published all over America. Lincoln said he had no doubt that's what made him president. They have a lot of interesting lectures throughout the year, very popular with New Yorkers. I like to go there myself. You got to get there early though. I went to one last year, an hour ahead of time, too late. Already absolutely packed. So we're turning you onto Broadway. Now on the far left is Kmart. We have 2 Kmarts now. For a long time, everybody said, oh my gosh, we can't let Kmart and Walmart in, another store in New York. Now we have 2 Kmarts. Walmart's been trying very hard to get in. So far they haven't. I'm sure they'll eventually get in. As we turn off to the left, you'll see a beautiful church. It's Grace Church, Episcopalian. In the 1800s, that was the church in New York City for all the socially prominent people.
That's the way they are right there.
The architect James Renwick then went uptown and did St. Patrick's Cathedral on 5th Avenue.
Downtown.
So now we're on Broadway, the same street we started on. I believe I mentioned the grid plan. Broadway defies the grid plan. It follows an Indian trail. It was here when the Dutch arrived in the 1600s. Eventually became a dirt road and finally was paved. So when they came up with the grid plan, even though it sometimes cuts other streets, they decided not to alter its original path. So now we're heading down to Soho. If you don't know about Soho, that's a very big shopping area now, and an area known for art galleries. It's got a good number of restaurants in it too now. That's another place in the neighborhood you can go to eat. Not as many as the Village, but most of the ones there are very good. This is still on New York University property here on the right.
It's a little fast, but he's moving fast.
Now what got Soho going? There are a lot of cast-down buildings in it. 139, that's more than you'll find any place in America. Artists started coming down here in the late 40s, 50s, and 60s, looking for the nice lofts in those buildings. Then the art galleries grew up around them, and then all the little specialty stores and restaurants. And now it gets really, really busy, especially on the weekend.
Building right up in there. Hot spot. Some of our people. 71 minutes. How much battery time in there? It looks like the battery. So much tape on it. Yeah, plenty of tape. You gotta watch my back.
Now to show you how Soho has changed, in the late 60s, you could have come down to Soho, gotten yourself a nice loft that went all the way through the building. $75 a month in rent. Everything was affordable back then. I know very well because I had a chance to get one. I turned it down. I was living uptown then, I was very happy, and nobody could foresee how this area would develop. Now with hindsight, oh boy, what a mistake that was on my part. For me to get that loft now, I would have to shell out well over $1 million. That's why artists aren't coming here anymore, unless they're from very wealthy families. There's still lots of artists here in the area of Head, but they can cash in at any time and realize a huge windfall.
Count that money, huh? I gotta sit you down for a minute. Zoom out. Zoom out. I'm trying to do something.
Now then after Soho, we're going to stop at Canal Street Shopping, Chinatown, and Little Italy, and then down to Ground Zero, where the World Trade Center was. There's the Battery Park.
I got a little ways to go then. Okay. Looking for my other battery. I smashed it somewhere. There. Everything's rush, rush, rush. That one bottom? Where the hell is that other battery? In here?
That's a really nice building on the left. I've never really stopped and looked at that building very thoughtfully before. Very nice design. You see the sculpted face there? The face is probably terracotta. Stone around it. And there's some more interesting stuff up top too. There's a lot of really great buildings down here. Sometimes I think Gray Line should give a tops of buildings to it. Just forget about what's down below and just concentrate on the tops of buildings. There's another great old building off to the left down there. I forget the name of that building, but that's a very famous building. The second building down on the left. That's a lot of very interesting ornamentation on it. Well, the cast iron buildings were put up, most of them were up in SoHo up ahead, were put up between 1840 and 1860. The British developed technology for them in the early 1800s. The cast iron buildings are really unusual. They're all bolted together. If you want to take one down, you just pull out all the bolts. We'll see a really great one a little further down. This building on the right, the last one, is the old cable building. That dates back to the era of the horse-drawn trolleys. They had huge wheels inside that could spin cable up to 30 miles an hour. Now, once we cross this street, Houston, we're in SoHo, meaning south of Houston. It goes from here to Canal Street, 3 blocks to the left, and then way over to the right to 6th Avenue. Anybody watch Will and Grace? I don't watch it myself, but they tell me that when we cross, you'll see a wonderful old brick building off to the left, the Putt Building. That's where she had her office in the Putt Building. Now, Broadway down ahead, even though it's part of SoHo, has a different character. You'll recognize many of the stores, Bloomingdale's, Kenneth Cole, Eastern Mountain Sports, Old Navy, Foot Locker, those kind of stores. It's all from the side streets where all the little specialty stores are. I was just down here again last week walking around. Very delightful area. Yeah, that old brick building off to the left, that's the Putt Building. Now pay attention to the street scene, folks. You won't see as many street vendors out today as on the weekend, but when you come across them, you can sometimes get some really good deals. In terms of jewelry and stuff. My wife and I bought some really nice things from street vendors over the years. We have a licensing system. If you're a veteran, you can go out and sell sunglasses, hats, pretty much whatever you want. If you're not a veteran, there are about 1,000 licenses. Right now, there's a huge waiting list. You're probably waiting years. That's why so many people go out and sell illegally, hoping they won't get caught. But the cops do write a lot of tickets for that. Sometimes you'll be in Grand Central, and you'll see people with blankets spread out with all kinds of CDs and stuff on it. They have a lookout at both ends. When any lookout sees a cop, you've never seen stuff go into the middle of a blanket so fast. They're all gone within seconds. As soon as the cops go out, oh, let's see what's going on here. Looks like a promotional thing going on here. Is a very popular store for eating, raw materials for groceries. We have several Dean & DeLuca. Now we're going to stop just beyond Spring Street. And whenever you're getting off, folks, you're a driver and myself, a part of the service industry. Gray Line hires us with the understanding that we're like the restaurant folks. Part of our income comes from a check, part from tips, gratuities. That's just the way the industry here has always been. If you did enjoy the tour, one way you can show your appreciation is put something in the tip box. But it is a custom, though. It's not an obligation. Just don't take anything out if you didn't enjoy the tour. Then we'll be up the creek. Now, off to the left, if you're a pizza lover, is a very good pizza place. The oldest pizza place in New York City. It's called Lombardi's. It opened in the early 1900s. It's right down Spring at the corner of Mott, M-O-T-T. It's right at the northern end of Little Italy. Now, Spring here goes right through the middle of SoHo. Off to the right, it connects with West Broadway. That's a street where many artists set up on Saturday and Sunday afternoon. And as we cross right to the left, you'll see some red canopies. That's one of the busiest restaurants in New York City. It's a French bistro called Balthazar. It's hard to get in there and eat without a 2-week in advance reservation, but you can certainly go in there at the bar and have a drink. So this is our stop for Soho. Anybody getting off here in Soho? Spring Street, yeah. Now there's a subway stop back to the left if you want to come back later by subway. Spring Street is the name of it. So coming up on the left is the downtown Bloomingdale's, much smaller than the main one. That's a fascinating building. Notice how the columns go all the way through. All the cast-down buildings are like that. The interior columns help share the weight load. But certainly the most famous cast-down building is the one on the left corner. That's the Howard building. Look at all those different sized columns. That whole building is just bolted together. It's got one of the original pressed-in ceilings. That's where Mary Todd Lincoln bought the White House china that's still being used down in Washington today. It was a dinnerware glassware imported back there. And what do I see on the right here? The Yellow Rat Bastard. That's a very popular clothing store. Personally, I think a lot of people buy stuff here just to shock their conservative friends with the packaging. Imagine opening stuff from Tiffany's, Saks, Bloomingdale's, and suddenly there's the Yellow Rat Bastard stuck in. Now, Little Italy is a few blocks to the left. One of the really big stories here is the shrinkage of Little Italy over the past 30 years. It used to be huge. Nothing like living a dangerous life. The thrills of being right in New York City. But Little Italy's down now to a core area on Mulberry Street and a little bit more in the surrounding area. But there's still plenty of Italian restaurants. That's where John Gotti the Lobster had his late night social club, 247 Mulberry. The FBI got a bug in there and was able to put it away. A lot of mafia killings have occurred over in Little Italy. I remember back in, I believe it was the late 60s, not too long after I got here, they gunned down Joey Gallo at Roberto's townhouse. The big joke at the time was, oh yeah, Joey Gallo went down to Little Italy and ordered clams. They made a mistake, served them slugs instead. But he wasn't the only one. A lot of other mafia chieftains were gunned down. But now they're pretty quiet, the mafia. There's another great cast-down building on the right. You can see why artists would like that kind of a building. If you had parts left over, the manufacturers would melt them down and cast them into something else. Now, the one use all the shopping is for designer stuff at a discount. If you're looking for designer stuff, folks, be warned. This area is notorious for rip-offs, fake Gucci's and stuff like that. They just closed a whole bunch of stores to hope for development bad guys. Many people come down here, not for the designer stuff, but all the colorful pocketbooks and things like that. It's a very busy shopping area. Now, if you want to get to Little Italy, you're going to go left on Canal. You're going to make a right after we stop, because we're going to stop on the other side. You're going to go down to where the road starts rising and curving. Make a left on Mulberry. That's Little Italy spread out in front of you. And if you were to compare old photographs of New York City to the way Little Italy looks now, that's pretty much the way New York was back then. Now, if you want to go to Old Chinatown, well, a big eating out area where all the restaurants, the dim sum places, and tea houses are, go that way on Canal Street to the left. The right past Mulberry is Muck. M-O-T-T, like a right on Muck. You're right in the middle of Old Chinatown. The key streets are Mott and then Bayard Hall running off the that red and white building off to the right on the other side of Canal is a major art store for New York City. Everything from sculpture, painting, drawing, and crafts. Very interesting shopping area, all kind of eclectic places. We've got specialized plastic stores off to the right. The artists and designers come down. I come down here for certain things. I have an old cheap watch. A few weeks ago, my watch man found. The guy uptown wanted $18. I was coming down here the next day. Sure enough. I have the same band down here, $3. So this is a great area for certain things. So this is where I stopped there for Canal Street shopping, Chinatown, and Little Italy. And now that we've crossed Canal, the area on our right is called Tribeca, meaning the triangular piece of land below Canal Street. This is the neighborhood the Tribeca Film Festival originated from. So this is our stop. Now, New York neighborhoods can be very deceptive. If you get over here and walk around, a lot of buildings that look just like ordinary buildings, inside they have really beautiful lofts and wonderful living spaces.
Right.
JFK Jr. lived down here for a while, way over on North Street. Now, the tall building down ahead with the pointed green top is the Woolworth building. It was set up in 1913 for $13.5 million. Woolworth paid cash for it at the time. The first skyscraper to be illuminated at night. Here on the right is what happens if you don't take care of a cast-iron building. It will really rust up on you. And when we get close to the Woolworth, you'll see it's a very beautiful Gothic design. We're going to stop just beyond it for Ground Zero. Here's some of my favorite little gargoyles, these guys in the plaques on the left. The building isn't interesting, but the little gargoyles there are pretty neat. Now, if you're getting off the next stop, folks, for Ground Zero, you're going to walk in front of the bus. You're going to see a church nestled in trees right in front of the bus. That's St. Paul's, the oldest church in New York, built in 1765. George Washington's pew is marked on the inside, but he was inaugurated as our president that came down and had a service here. Go behind the church. That's the beginning of Ground Zero. It goes down for several blocks. What you're seeing on the other side of that big hole is the World Financial Center on 14 acres of landfill out in the Hudson River. It got a lot of damage, but it's all been repaired now. But go inside the church. You'll learn a lot about 9/11. church. Strawberries on the right is a very popular store for younger women who want to fix clothing. There's strawberries all over the city. This is the Javits building on the left, the Henry Highline. All of our courthouses are behind it, except for one small courthouse uptown. One of the nice things about doing jury duty, old Chinatown is right behind the courthouse. You can have a nice Chinese lunch every day. The tall building right to the left, with the black on top, is the part of the school that had their opinions. Now the next block on the left, that's called the Sun Building, after the Sun newspaper. But in the beginning, it was Stewart's Department Store, the first department store that ever opened in New York City, back in the era of the huge 5 And down to the left, you'll see our municipal building, everything to do with marriage and divorce. The Russians are crazy about that building. You ever go to Moscow, the main building, Moscow University, or it's a heavy deck, New York's municipal building. Now folks, this next stop is also for walking to Brooklyn Bridge. If you haven't thought about it, maybe walking to Brooklyn Bridge. I think that is one of the best walks in all of New York City. It's right behind City Hall here on the left. This is Mayor Bloomberg's place of operation. The Brooklyn Bridge behind it. The red part coming up on the left is where the American Declaration of Independence was publicly read for the very first time. And now you can see how beautiful the Warwick building is. It became the tallest building in 1913. Remember we saw that building in Madison Square Park that was the tallest building from 1909 to 1913? Then they built this. A lot of this is terracotta, like the elaborate work around the windows, that's clay. Now, as we go through this intersection, off to the right, you're going to see a silvery gray building. That's number 7 World Trade Center. Remember, there are 7 buildings in the whole complex. This is the only one so far that's been rebuilt. But they've had a very, very hard time bringing out the space in the building. And everybody's wondering what's going to happen with the other buildings, especially Freedom Tower, designed by Daniel Levski. Even our former governor, Governor Spitzer, said he was very concerned about it possibly becoming a white home and a livable building. We'll just have to hope for the best. Now, on the other side of the triangle is a very big electronics complex, J&R. And when you look at the tops of all those old buildings over there, you get a sense of what it was like down here in the 19th century. Most of the old buildings have been torn down now. Now, some of you probably read in the paper recently about the 2 people stabbing the New York Times building. The original New York Times newspaper, you'll see it in just a minute, it's right to the left of that red brick building. That's called the Potter Building, one of the first to use terracotta. The white building to the left of it is the original New York Times newspaper building. It was built in the mid-1850s. The Times moved out of there in 1904 and gave Times Square its name. So this is where I stop here. Again, go to the corner to get the ground zero, turn right, and go inside the church. And then come back here to continue. Yeah.
One damn thing. 12th Street is pretty damn far from where I got on at. Which was 5th Avenue and 8th Street. Got on, sit down. Wait a minute. who's Empire State Building at? Who's that? It was on 5th Ave and not 8th Ave, that's 5th Ave. 34th Street and 5th Ave. I think that's what I was saying. 34th walk. A long, long way. And I'm going to show you a picture of what we're on. We're on that thing right there. That's what I'm on. Video camera, then 5 to 10 minutes of shots, and then back to the video. Try to take me on there. We got plenty of tape. Yeah, we got lots of tape. 46 minutes on this one, and we're off.
Yeah, the one with the 5 things on top. That was the original New York Times newspaper building. They moved out of there in 1904, just to the left of the red brick building. Yeah. So again, as we cross here, off to the right, you're looking over Ground Zero, the World Financial Center designed by Cesar Pelli off in the background. Number 7 World Trade Center right down there, but they've had a hard time bringing it out. Now this church really was a miracle. No damage at all, even though Ground Zero is right behind it. And of course, if you're watching television, that huge cloud of debris came up all these streets and then backspilled up Broadway. This huge white building on the right is the original AT&T headquarters building, where Alexander Graham Bell made his famous first transcontinental telephone call. The same thing here off to the right. You're still looking over Ground Zero, the World Financial Center in the background. Now, if you've heard of Century 21, that's a very popular shopping place. Name brands at a discount. This is it on the right. The shoes are on this side, the clothing on the other side. The same thing here off to the right. You're still looking over Ground Zero. Now, when you see a lot of police cars like this, don't be alarmed. Ever since 9/11, they're going through maneuvers constantly. At some point, they turn on their sirens and lights, and they'll all take off. Off to the right's the end of Ground Zero. Off to the left, the building with the flag is the Federal Reserve that holds our gold and the gold of many other nations. Off to the right, that black building being taken apart by the crane is the Deutsche Bank. It got a huge gash when the towers came down. It's contaminated with chemicals and asbestos and must come down. Now you can really see how nice the World Financial Center is out there, designed by Cesar Pelli.
Don't building right there, I don't know what it is, I forgot what it is.
Now as we go along now, you notice those bands in the sidewalk with text and dates? You people on the left have one coming up on the corner down here. Those are the ticker tape parades. Every time a ticker tape parade is held here through what's called the Canyon of Heroes, a band goes into the sidewalk to commemorate it. This police checkpoint here has been here ever since 9/11.
Right up in this little cut in there.
Now the next church coming up is Trinity. Started the brownstone building craze in New York City. If you're walking around down here, make sure you go through the cemetery. There are a lot of famous people laid to rest here. And off to the left, opposite the church, is the legendary Wall Street. Now you can't turn a vehicle onto Wall Street anymore out of concern for terrorism against the stock exchange. But you can certainly walk it. If you want to come here for the next stop, it's a very short walk. You don't have to walk all Wall Street, just right down to the first intersection.
Alright.
Trinity Church. Trinity Church. So there's Wall Street off to the left. What a symbol, huh? Wall Street, basically church.
Wall
Here off to the right, that where you see the white pyramid, that's where Alexander Hamilton is buried, the financial genius who set up America's banking system. And now coming up on the right is the original American Express Company headquarters. Now they're out in the world
Bank of
financial
New York.
center. Now the little park coming up is Bowling Green, named after the fact that the British used it for one bullet. The British used it for one bullet. So it's Bowling Green Park. Bowling Green Park. Behind it, that green and pink top building, is the old Alexander Hamilton Custom House. Now, folks, that's now a free museum. It's the Museum of the American Indian. Go inside and check it out. A lot of nice Indian art. It's open every day from 10 to 5. Now, the latest thing to open coming up on the left is the Sports Museum. There's an awful lot of information to digest there. We've got a whole section just on the Heisman Trophy. All the sports are covered. You know, some interesting things, though. I never heard of the Logan Brothers, but I found out at the Sports Museum they were the first Afro-Americans admitted into a major baseball league way back in 1881. 1881, you never hear about that. And then nobody else was admitted until 1947, Jackie Robinson. Now this pool right in front of us has become a really favorite spot for taking photographs. The sculptor tried to donate it to the stock exchange, but they wouldn't accept it, so the city brought it over here. Now it is a favorite. Here's one of the old shipping buildings on the right. Yeah, everybody wants the ball. Both ends of the ball, apparently. There's another shipping building down the right.
Getting close to Battery
Now,
Park.
did I mention the free sound out there?
You're right here?
Yeah.
I did?
That's where I catch the helicopters?
That is a terrific deal.
That's Battery Park. I'm trying to get to the helicopters, so I take the helicopters
It
down
takes 20 to
12.
25 minutes to
He
get
said
there.
12. He told me to get off on Battery Park and then upstairs.
It's free both ways.
This is Battery
They
Park
stay
right
at night. After
Okay.
midnight, they leave on the
Do
hour.
you know where to get the helicopters from? 12th Street. Where's 12th Street?
Now, the
Okay,
larger
thanks.
park, off to the right, is Battery Park. On the other side is where you get the boats going to the Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island. Anybody going to the Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island, you better get over there right away to get the last boat. The large mango metal ball over there is from the center of the World Trade Center. That's why it's all beat up. They put it over here and there's an eternal flame right beside it. Now right here's the subway station. If you want to come back later, take the 4 to 5 express from Grand Central to get off right here. So this is where I stop for the free Staten Island ride ahead. The Free Museum of the American Indian on the right, taking the boats directly to the Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island, the Jewish Heritage Museum, the Skyscraper Museum, walking by
This isn't for Battery Park
Now
yet.
you will not
Right
see
here?
the Statue of Liberty from the bus because of the leaves on the trees this time of year. You've got to walk to the other side of the park or take one of the boats, the free ones.
So get off here and go to
John McCain is even or close in a few states that have recently gone Democratic, Michigan, for example. Obama is showing strength in lots of states that Bush won last time. Obama's ahead in Ohio, Iowa, New Hampshire, Colorado, New Mexico, all of which means, well, what does it mean? Back in July of 1988, Democrat Michael Dukakis was 17 points ahead of Vice President George H.W. Bush. Bush won comfortably. In mid-June of 1992, Bill Clinton trailed both President Bush and independent candidate Ross Perot.
I had fun.
Clinton recovered.
Who says Gordon
you're having
Smith
fun
helped
too
lead
with
the
all
fight
of the
for better gas
fantastic
mileage
things
and
that
a
I've
cleaner
shown you.
environment?
I'm sorry that
Barack
everything
Obama.
went so
But
quickly.
this television ad, on the other hand,
But
may
everything's
be
going
an
so
intriguing
fast,
straw in
and
the
I'm
wind.
trying to do so much
Oregon
in
Republican
so
Senator
little
Gordon
time.
Smith,
So
up
right
for
now I'm
re-election
getting
this
ready to
November,
go to the Lions
cites his
King,
work in the
about
Senate with Barack
16 blocks
Obama.
up,
Citing the presidential nominee of another
heading down
party
to Times
is, to say
Square.
the least,
And I'll let you
highly
know more about
unusual.
that when I
I'm
get
Gordon
there.
Smith, and I approve
want you
working
to,
together across party lines. And this ad.
Be cool, know the
And the
rules.
Kane
If
camp,
you
by the
don't
way,
take
points to at
something, you'll
least
take
one other poll
anything.
showing him
I
about
want you to
even with
know
Obama.
this,
But the larger
that
point is
Lady
that
J's
we all might do better paying less attention to polls
one
as
state
far
at a
out more
time
of those kinds
travel
of
venture
indications, like whether
is
politicians from
right
one
on
party
time.
are saying
Praise
nice things
Yahweh.
about the captain of
Peace
the
out.
other team.
Well, both candidates were pretty vocal about the Supreme Court decision, both decrying the fact that child rapists could not get the death penalty. But with Barack Obama, you think there's a pattern emerging here?
I do, and it's, I think, a relentless march to the center. He's determined not to be defined as Dukakis was.
That was 15 years ago.
Okay, folks, I'm heading out. I hope I look pretty nice, if not fantastically beautiful. I'm out, and I want you to keep your eyes open because I'm going to bring you some fantastic stuff. And for the grown-ups, I'm going to be bringing you some fantastic, hellified stuff in a bit. Matthew, I love you. I know you miss me. But
preaching reading as the solution to dropout rates approaching 50%.
too bad you can't be here, huh? Next time I'll bring you, all right? Everybody, whoever had the pleasure of viewing this tape, I know you're going to love it because I do things
Don't let anybody tell
like
you that you can't do
a millionaire.
Now he's
I'm a millionaire living on a poor woman's income, okay? But you got to do what you got to do. You just can't be sitting up in the house thinking about, well, I wish I had done this and I wish I had done that. God damn it, get out there and do it. Because I ain't rich. My black ass is poor. But I live large, I think large, and the most of all, I have one thing that's in my corner that nobody else knows. The secret is the power of the Creator. Yahweh Elohim has blessed me to have whatever it is that I want to have, to do whatever it is that I want to do, and to exceed my expectations. So I hope I made this clear that it's out here, come get it.
What a great guy.
Peace out.
That's the CBS Evening News. I'm Katie Couric. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Here's great news for New York City and folks visiting New York City. New York City garbage men can now wear shorts in the summer. Yeah.
I made it back. It's been a long, long, long day, but I've had fun. I just left the Lion King. It was fantastic. I had a very good time. The costumes were fantastic. The singing was great. It's just hard to describe the things that people can do with their bodies and their voices. And it was nice. The theater was lovely. The seating arrangement was cool. You could see the stage. I mean, I didn't miss a beat, so it was well worth what I paid for it. They didn't have any food in there. They just had like liquor and snacks, and their snacks consist of Mars bars and Cracker Jacks and some other crap that I wasn't going to be paying. Whatever it was that they were asking for it, I wasn't going to pay. So I managed to talk to the usher, and he let me out. And I went across the street, and for the second time since I've been here, I had some meat. And today I had a hot dog, which was like, I think he said $4 or something like that, $3 or $4. It was about like that. Nothing compared to Jesse's Doggy Dogs. Remember that? Didn't have nothing on Jesse's Doggy Dogs, but anyway, it was pretty cool. And let's see, the hot dog, and then I went back over, got settled in, show started. It was fantastic. They had these animals, people, but they were in these animal costumes like a giraffe and elephants and gazelles and lions and lioness. And it came from the aisles, came down the aisles, and the African dancers, they were just like floating. It was just cool to see all of that. So the show went out without a hitch. Like I said, I enjoyed everything. And then when the show let out, I walked from 45th Street back to the room. And this time when I walked back from Times Square, I took a diagonal path because I had never been down that street before. And I started talking on the phone. Before I knew it, I was somewhere that I didn't know where the hell I was until I happened to look up and say, damn, this is Columbus Circle. So at the time I was talking to Michelle, she told me to get off the phone and figure out where I am, because then she started talking about some people getting cracked over the head. And for some unknown reasons, Michelle thinks about all these bad things that can happen. You can get robbed, so put your purse up in your pants and pin a button to it in a thing and put it inside your pants, not in your pocket, she says. Put it inside your pants and put it in and then put a baby pin in that. And I was like, do you think I'm going to go through all of that just not to get robbed? Shit. Do you think I came all the way down to New York to get robbed? I'm going to put it in my purse, I'm going to carry my purse, and nobody bet not touch this shit. And so far I've been blessed, and nobody bothered me. And tonight was the first time I walked out on the streets. Well, the second time. Sunday I walked on the streets, it was pretty late. Tonight I walked out on the streets, it was pretty late. I was dehydrated. And the first thing I wanted to do when I came out of that, I gotta tell you exactly what the theater's name is. Here's a brochure of the King. I don't even remember taking my money out, but here's a picture of the Lion King. I gotta go back over here. And I was at the, I was at the N.Y.C Theater. N.Y.C Theater on 45th Street, if you can see that. I don't know, let's see if I can zoom it in so you can see it. There we are, the N.Y.C Theater. 45th Street, I think it is. So, and then here is the Lion King. See if you can see it. Hope you can. There it is. And let's see if they had anything in there that had to do with the. Let's see. I think these are some of the actors and actresses. I think it is. See if I can get a little closer. I haven't really taken a good look at it, and I haven't read this, but I think these are some of the people that was in the show. Yeah, I think they were. It was a beautiful, beautiful crowd. I mean, beautiful, beautiful stage performance. And the first thing I thought about after seeing this, let you see, the Lion King. I hope this is showing the right way. Let's start over here. Okay. And then from over here, some other stuff that you probably aren't interested in, okay? I'll read it to you later. But anyway, the first thing that I thought of when I saw the children, there was a couple of youngsters in the show. The first thing I thought about is taking baby bruh and Joy to see this production in San Francisco when it comes. So hopefully I'll be able to do that. I am hungry now, and I went and took a helicopter ride today. I took the subway today. I took the subway this morning. Got out of the hotel at 11 o'clock. took the subway down to 34th Street. Mind you, I'm on 59th Street and 7th Ave, okay? So I went to the south. I went south on 7th Ave, about 3 blocks, and I took the subway down to 34th. 34th, I walked over to the Empire State Building. If I'm not mistaken, the Empire State Building is on 34th. It's not that important, but somewhere down there. And then from Empire State Building, I went up to the 86th floor, the observatory, and did that little thing. Then I went on a simulated ride of a simulated helicopter ride while up inside the Empire State Building. And then while I was coming off of the observatory floor, after I did all of the filming and shooting and looking all over the state, in the same building, the Empire State Building, for those of you who do not know, that's where they had said the King Kong ended up being killed on the tower there. And if I'm not mistaken, John D. Rockefeller Sr. Had something to do with that building being built, I think, but I could be mistaken. But anyway, the 1930s, during the 1930s when the stock market crashed, that building, they were going to stop building on that building, but they kept building, and people did have some jobs, and men were hard at work during that Depression time, and finally everything came into fruition, and the rest is history. It's a beautiful building, and it was well designed, because once you're up there, you could see all around the city. It's just fantastic. The grid, the layout of this city is something that you need to see for yourself. After I left the observatory, I got on the subway. No, I took a tour bus. I took the hop-on, hop-off tour bus down to Staten Island, where you take the Staten Island ferry. So imagine being on 34 and then having to go all the way. Would that be south? I don't know if I was on the south end, but I probably was far south, pretty much far south as you could go, to take the helicopter ride, the helicopter ride, or helocopter, whatever they referred to it as. And I got on the helicopter about 15 minutes. Last one on, first one off, and I did it. And that was fun. That was exciting, and I took a lot of pictures. Words cannot describe. It was just amazing. And in the helicopter, you really got a chance to see how the city was built on water. It's man-made. It's just like portions of, I guess, San Francisco and other places in California that were built, man-made places, built on an island, put it like that, built on an island. So after that, we landed safely. I'm here. And then I was started to go back on the hop-on, hop-off tour bus, but it was taking too long. And I only had like 4 hours before, to get back and get dressed and find my way back and then get dressed and make the show on time. So I decided to go on the subway. Subway was quite interesting. It's very confusing. Their subway is very confusing because you pay $2 to get on and you don't pay anything to get off. And then you got to get out, and people are going out and in the same little turnstile. And I don't know if I took a picture of it while I was down there. Maybe on one of my digitals you'll be able to see it. But the gate that you go through, it's so confusing that you don't know what end to push. But you go in the same way you go out, and it was so confusing. So for about 10 minutes after getting on the first train, not 10 minutes, maybe about 4 minutes after getting off of the first train on my way down to 34th Street, me and several other people couldn't figure out how to get the hell out of there. And finally, I figured it out by watching people do it. I just dashed my ass on out of there. Anyway, on the way back, I took the subway. I was kind of confused because I asked them what do you call that person that's there at the agent? I asked the agent how to get back to where I wanted to go, and she had told me to do this, that, and the other, and not telling me which direction to go. I followed her directions, and just so happened, as I was coming down to that train, I saw a sister, an older middle-aged woman who looked like she had just come off work. And I started to approach her then, but I didn't. I went to the ticket agent, and who was very kind of, they're so, in the book they be telling you, talk to the ticket agents, they're so nice and they'll tell you everything. They'll be telling you nothing, like get the hell out of our face. They're too busy doing whatever it is they do and running their mouth with some of their damn co-workers. Anyway, the ticket agent had told me the wrong platform to go to, and here I am, I go down the platform and I just walk right dead smack into the woman that I had seen when she was first coming down into the subway with me. And I inquired, she said, no honey, you going to Manhattan, right? I said, yeah. She said, you gotta go back up the steps and go around and get on the other side. And you could take the W or the R back to where you were. And I did. And then once I got on the train, I was like, I don't remember seeing any of these streets that I'm passing by, so I thought I was lost again. And I asked someone on the train, and then they said, well, they really didn't know. They didn't want to get me lost. And then I asked this boy, he looked like he was Caucasian and something else. Just so happened I picked the right one, and he did know a lot about the city. And he said, yeah, he showed me the little map and said that you were right here. But the thing was so small, I didn't know what the hell that thing said because I didn't have my glasses on. But he told me, yeah, just stay on this train, you're going in the right direction. And finally, it took a long time, right? So then I was like, damn, I wasn't on this train this long when I came down this way. But lo and behold, I had to stop and think later on, after I got into an area where I was familiar with, I realized that I got on a subway on 34th Street, and I got down to where it was, to where the tour bus was. No, I got on the train by my room, which was 57. Yeah, and then I only went down to 34th, and there was only like 3 stops. Well, on the way back, it was like 20 stops, damn near, and that's when I thought I was lost. But that's when I realized that I went from, like, I think I saw Battery Park is down there like on 3rd or 12th or 10th or 14th, one of those streets, much further out than 34th Street, right? I realized that I was really, really far away from where I had started from, and that's why I didn't see some of the streets that I was seeing, some of the stops that I was seeing as I'm coming back my way. So after I saw Canal Street, I felt comfortable. I gave the boy the thumbs up, and around about 23rd Street, he got off. And I stayed on and got off and walked up the steps, found my way, came right back up damn near to where I had first left the room at, so everything was cool. That took me to about 4 o'clock. Between 4 and 6, I was dicking around in the room trying to get ready to go to the play. I finally got ready, got dressed, and what you saw earlier was me telling you that I'm on my way out. Now you see me, I'm back, and I'm hungry, and that's the way my day ended. It is 6 minutes to midnight, and I am about to eat me some soup, cold soup, because I don't have no, microwave. It's not like being out there in Vegas where they be catering to you and stuff and bring you all kind of little snacks. But I don't know. I'm just gonna, get on up out of here and eat me something. And tomorrow's Thursday, around about the 26th, and it'll be almost time for me to go home come Friday, so I'll keep you posted. Tomorrow I'll be going to Central Park and some of the museums. I just hope that everything goes off without a hitch. I have to start packing, so I'll be leaving you, and I'll see you in the morning, and I hope you enjoyed this show. Good night. Oh, I didn't mean to do that.